The thing that causes us to be unsober is, you know, the body craving, and the extraction of active ingredients from the world that will give it instantaneous gratification, but with long-term downside, and that's what addiction is. I want the instantaneous gratification, and I'm willing to overlook what it is I know. I know. I have good intellectual knowledge, and I absolutely know that immediately after the instantaneous gratification, I'm going to have an unenjoyable experience. It'll be very unenjoyable. And then there'll be a build-up to the craving to once again partake, and then I know that as soon as I finish, and the desperation that comes with that state of consciousness. So then sobriety has to do with, the don't do it lectures. It's better not to do it because you know what'll happen if you do it. And let's examine all the reasons why you want to do it and so on. Now, that can all help somewhat, a bit of intellectual conceptualization of why you should resist that you crave. If you know that, partaking of the thing you're craving is going to give you that downside of dreadful experience. But there's a better way. You fill all of the receptor sites in your body with what it is they're actually craving. What they're actually craving is not exogenous substances. The receptors in your body that are craving something are creating your own endogenous, that means homemade, made by your own brain, the endogenous bliss chemicals that your brain can produce that are sustainable for you to assimilate. Everything that you can think of that you would like, that you consider to be yummy, but it's bad for you, is actually your brain having fallen for the idea that that substance is only available externally. In fact, it's available internally. And the thing that your body's actually craving is your own natural bliss chemistry. Well, how do you get the bliss chemistry? You close your eyes and practice Vedic meditation twice a day. Sit in your chair and de-excite your brain, de-excite your body, de-excite your consciousness. And as the mind moves into the bliss field, our consciousness always manufactures or produces neurochemistry and cellular function that reflects whatever our consciousness is. So if I am in desperately unhappy consciousness state, my body will become desperately unhappy. Then when I'm in bliss consciousness, my body will start to produce cocktails of bliss chemistry. And these cocktails of bliss chemistry, which I can concoct internally, not through conscious thought, not by willing myself to do it, but by letting go of the outside world, diving within, and experiencing the bliss field. It's sustainable. First of all, those molecules are the right fit for the receptor into which they're docking. They're not an ill fit. Other exogenous chemicals can get into that receptor and it's a counterfeit, but it gets stuck in the receptor and then it blocks other things which are endogenous chemicals from getting into that receptor until either the cell dies, which is more frequently the case, and is replaced by a new cell and a new receptor, or somehow the dislodging of the exogenous substance, the stuff that's come from outside, happens. When our own endogenous chemistry docks into the receptor for which it's made, there is this release of supreme inner contentedness, the release of the experience of pure baseline happiness. And why do we say it's sustainable? Your own body's creating it. That's the thing your cells are actually craving, not the other junk that comes from the outside, the counterfeit stuff. The counterfeit stuff will trick your body into thinking that it's achieved bliss consciousness. But in fact, it's exogenous. It's come from the outside world. It's not natural to you. And so when you practice Vedic meditation, you get the really high quality, super, absolutely wonderful bliss chemistry. And your brain learning now how to make that and complete that cycle of sustainability. It's mutually enriching cycle rather than the vicious cycle of, the taking in of exogenous chemicals, getting them, stuck in the receptors, then feeling miserable, and then getting the craving again because it was never enough. No amount is ever enough. And so then you go for the exogenous substance again. It gets stuck in the receptors again. And then once again, you're back in the cycle. Instead of that vicious cycle, we want a cycle of mutual enrichment. And that's what we get through our practice of Vedic meditation. This is how we can step beyond the mere approach of don't do it. Oh, you want the stuff, but don't do it. Don't do it. There's, call up your sponsor and let them talk you out of it. Rush off to a meeting. All beautiful. 12-step programs, fantastic. Step 11, meditate. Almost everyone who's involved in 12-step programs doesn't know what step 11 actually means. It means practice Vedic meditation. So you have to do that. And then sobriety becomes a sustainable state. So I myself have not yet had a drink or a smoke or a drug. I'm in the middle of my 8th decade. I haven't given up on the idea. Any time now I could. But if I did, I have no doubt that it would have the effect on me because I've seen the genetic behavior of it in my ancestral family. I haven't not done it because I was concerned about that genetic predisposition. Not at all. I got filled up with bliss chemicals from my late teens till the present moment, and so it never really occurs to me to try anything. Now, if you are someone who has tried things, my hat's off to you. You didn't know about Vedic meditation. You were adventurous. You knew that there was some higher consciousness state that was not just waking, dreaming, sleeping, waking, dreaming, sleeping, waking, dreaming, sleeping, go to work, earn money, pay the rent, buy a bit of junk that you don't even want, and then do that for a lot of years and then die. You weren't willing to buy into that, work-a-day consumer mentality thing. You knew there was some higher consciousness state, and not equipped with the knowledge of Vedic meditation, you decided to go after something that would create at least temporary higher consciousness state. And, I tip my hat to you. I think some of the very best seekers and finders in Vedic meditation are people who, before they learned Vedic meditation, were brave enough to experiment. And, you discovered what was unsustainable. Fantastic, let's rule that out. Now let's go for what is sustainable. Vedic meditation and sustained bliss chemistry production. That's sustainable. Very good. Jai Gurudev.